You see some incredible things unfold online, but then there are those rare stories that just grab you and make you sort of rethink what you thought you knew.
Definitely.
We've got one of those today, a truly unexpected saga that played out in the digital world of the online game State 31.
Absolutely. We're diving into the fascinating transformation of a player known famously as Joker. And this wasn't like a slow burn.
Yes.
It was a pretty dramatic shift in identity and, well, influence.
Exactly. We've been digging through some really interesting material, early YouTube transcripts that capture Joker's initial frustrations as, a dominant player.
The powerhouse phase.
Yeah, and another video detailing an absolute legendary prank he orchestrated and then experienced firsthand.
Oh, yeah, that one's great.
And finally, a more sort of analytical video charting his surprising rise to leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So our goal today is to really understand the pivotal moments and the changes in Joker's approach that took him from being this feared powerhouse to, well, a respected leader.
Yeah, sounds good.
So let's get into it.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, right? When Joker was essentially the apex predator in State 31, the powerhouse of the CWB Alliance.
Right.
His high CP, that's combat power, basically his strength in the game, it made him the go-to person for, well, just about everything.
And when we say everything, we're really not kidding. According to those early transcripts, his DMs, they were like the server's emergency hotline.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, the usual alliance drama or fights over resources. This guy was fielding requests about, everything imaginable. Lost in-game stuff, debates about profile pictures.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? The burdens that can come with that kind of online success. He was the de facto problem solver for the whole server.
Like an always-on support system.
Exactly. What's interesting here is how, dominance in a game can translate into these really unexpected social obligations.
Right, and the breaking point. The request that finally, pushed him over the edge. Get this, a lost chicken.
A real one.
A real-world chicken.
Right.
Someone genuinely thought the mighty Joker of State 31, this powerhouse player, was the right person to help find their missing farm animal.
Wow. Okay. That really highlights the sometimes bizarre expectations people have online.
Totally.
And his response is pretty classic from what the transcripts say. He apparently started replying to everyone with just, PM Boba instead. He handles everything.
Oh, Boba.
Yeah, Boba was the Alliance's unofficial mascot, right? Known for being super chill, had that bubble tea head profile pic.
So it seemed like a smart move. Delegate a bit.
In theory, yeah, a smart way to delegate. But as the transcripts show, it backfired. Spectacularly.
Yeah.
Well, people just kept flooding Joker's inbox anyway. They'd either claim Boba sent them, which, he definitely hadn't.
Well, of course.
Or they were still asking for updates on the missing chicken.
Oh my God, the shenanigan.
Yeah.
It just shows how hard it can be to, redefine your role or escape a certain perception in an online community, doesn't it?
It really does. And then you had another player, Snowball, sort of stirring the pot.
Oh, yeah.
Making comments about Joker being so approachable, which you can just hear the sarcasm, right?
Totally, leaving the contact.
And the Alliance even started, a betting pool on how many messages Joker was getting daily and how he'd finally react. Would he rage quit, explode?
That's amazing. It just underscores how even in, a virtual world, these social dynamics and humor play such a huge role in how people interact, especially with those in power.
Absolutely.
So the key takeaway there is, I guess, even being the strongest player doesn't mean peace and quiet.
Not at all.
And trying to delegate responsibility can just sometimes create even more hilarious chaos.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. We now look at this other video, the Where's Joker one, and the whole vibe has changed completely.
Yeah, big shift.
Apparently someone logs in one day, and the CWB Alliance is just in total despair. People are genuinely upset. Some are even, talking about being tearful.
Yeah, the reason for this sudden mood swing was this kind of cryptic and messy note left on the Alliance message board.
What did it say?
Something like, "It was great meeting everyone. See you again if fate lets us so Joker." Just like that. Messy, no punctuation.
Oof. That sounds final.
For this community, yeah, it was like a critical pillar had just vanished. It really speaks to the strong bonds, that reliance that forms in these online groups.
Absolutely. Joker wasn't just strong. He was clearly seen as a crucial part of their identity, their strength.
Mm-hmm.
His potential departure sparked real fear about their vulnerability in the game. It's fascinating how deeply these digital connections can hit people's emotions and sense of security.
It truly is. And then the plot thickens, right? With the discovery of this massive vault.
Oh yeah, the vault.
Full of resources Joker had seemingly just left behind.
Which presented a whole ethical thing for them.
Totally. A real dilemma should they take this stuff. It felt almost like, I don't know, looting his virtual corpse or something. Didn't sit right.
Like getting an unexpected inheritance, but it feels kind of weird. And then, just as they're wrestling with this, boom, the vault's emergency teleport protocol activates.
Yeah. You can just imagine the suspense, right? Everyone's on edge, like, what is happening?
And
then, from behind where the vault was, this familiar voice just booms out. April Fools, muda, muda, muda.
No way. It was him.
It was Joker. Revealing the whole thing was just this massive, elaborate prank.
Wow. The reveal. So the alliance goes from, like, deep sadness to just complete shock.
Right. Followed by what sounds like this explosion of relief, but also anger. And then, yeah, a lot of laughter. He really pulled one over on them.
You know, it's interesting. Maybe that frustration from earlier with the chicken and everything kind of fueled this desire to just shake things up.
That's a really good point. Maybe it was his way of blowing off steam, but like massively. And the Alliance's reaction is what makes this so great. They didn't just laugh it off.
No. What do?
They immediately started planning Operation Reverse Uno.
Oh, I love it already.
An incredibly detailed, like resource-intensive counter prank. This wasn't just payback. It was them showing their own creativity and, well, their bond.
Okay, this sounds amazing. Tell us more. What did they do?
Oh, they went all out. Fake party invitations, a whole decoy event page. They even redecorated the vault area with stuff they knew Joker liked in-game.
Oh, what?
His signature hat, apparently, a cake with his avatar's face on it, personal touches. They really committed to luring him back in.
That's brilliant. Real effort.
Totally. They even coordinated a distraction while a bunch of them changed their in-game names to variations of Joker.
Oh, that's devious.
The level of organization, the commitment to this prank, it really highlights a unique dynamic in that alliance. It suggests this culture where, you know, playful trolling is actually a form of social bonding.
Okay, so the payoff. Joker logs back in, expecting his vault full of goodies.
And instead gets hit with a Clown of the Year surprise.
Yeah.
Complete with in-game fireworks, fake system messages congratulating him, custom emojis, and the best part, his own Muda Muda stickers just raining down on his screen.
That is perfect, using his own catchphrase against him.
Exactly. And his mock outrage, the fact they recorded it all, it points to this deeply connected, maybe, as they described it, weird and chaotic, but family-like bond.
Yeah.
They're comfortable enough to invest serious time and game resources into this massive prank against their top player. It shows how these online communities develop their own really intense internal cultures.
The key insight there is just how deep and maybe unconventional the relationships can be online. Even leaders aren't immune to playful and sometimes costly pranks. It really underscores the complex social fabric you can find in these virtual spaces.
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's move on to the JokerAgain.mp4 video. This shows another big transformation, right? Joker's now become the recognized leader of State 31.
Yeah, a formal leader. Yeah. And with this new responsibility comes a completely different image.
How so?
Well, gone is the maybe more chaotic look. We're seeing a cleaner, sharper look. Symmetrical markings, Eyeliner described as incredibly precise.
Like really detailed.
Yeah, there are even comparisons in the analysis video to like K-pop level visuals. It suggests a very deliberate effort to project a more composed, authoritative image.
Wow. Okay. So the styled green hair, the sharp, shimmering purple suit, the official C31 armband, it all adds up to this aura of a respected leader.
Totally. And the Alliance chat reaction, according to the video, was super enthusiastic. Jokes about him topping music charts, you know.
So they bought into it.
They really seemed invested in this new persona, but the analysis emphasizes this wasn't just cosmetic, right?
Right. It was framed as a genuine evolution.
Yeah.
From just being a powerful fighter to becoming a true leader.
Precisely. The video shows clips of his first speech as leader. He's hitting themes of unity, strength, taking their state to new heights.
Setting a vision.
Exactly. All with the C31 flag prominently displayed behind him. And the reaction from the players shown was really positive. It demonstrates the power of, you know, symbolism and clear communication in establishing leadership.
And it wasn't just talk, was it? There were examples of him actually leading.
Yeah, concrete examples, like leading State 31 to a decisive win in a big duel event against State 33, showcasing strategy in both attack and defense.
So competence to back up the image.
Right. Even when facing counterattacks, the video highlights his calm, calculated approach. So the change wasn't just superficial, it was backed by effective action.
That's key.
Exactly. And his communication style also seems to have shifted.
Yep.
Described as more thoughtful, maybe kinder in his interactions.
Kinder. That's a big change from the PM Boba guy.
Huge change. And as the video points out, some players apparently started comparing him favorably to Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
Seriously. From prankster Joker to Batman.
I know, right? A pretty significant shift in perception. It just underscores how crucial communication and maybe those softer skills are for leadership, even online.
So the final takeaway here. Joker's journey is a really compelling example of, I guess, personal growth and adaptation within a digital world.
Totally.
His online identity,
Yeah.
his role, it all underwent this dramatic transformation. And it seems his conscious efforts changing his appearance, his communication, played a huge part in shaping how he was seen as a leader.
Absolutely. It demonstrates that online identities aren't static. You know, they can be intentionally cultivated and can have a massive influence on how people perceive you and how effectively you can lead in these digital spaces.
So just to recap this whole wild ride,
Right.
we've seen Joker go from being this overwhelmed powerhouse, dealing with lost chickens and endless DMs,
Right.
to being the instigator and then the target of an epic alliance-wide prank.
The reverse Uno.
Right. And ultimately emerging as the surprisingly respected leader of State 31, complete with this polished, almost K-pop look. It's quite the journey, isn't it?
It truly is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it offers some fascinating insights into how leadership can just sort of emerge and evolve online. It really challenges the idea that influence is only about raw power or CP. It highlights how important social dynamics, community bonds, and yeah, even a well-timed prank are in shaping perceptions.
So here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It makes you think about how our online personas, how they might reflect, but also maybe influence our real-world leadership potential.
That's a deep thought.
And, can truly unexpected people rise to influence in these digital spaces?
Yeah.
What is Joker's story, this unexpected evolution from arid prankster to respected leader? What does it really tell us about the fundamental nature of leadership in online communities?
Yeah,
Especially as these communities become such a big part of our lives. Definitely something to think about.
for sure. What makes a leader online versus offline? Or is it blurring? Interesting stuff.